Rock You Like a Hurricane by Scorpions, also known as the song that should have been somewhere in the Rob Cohen film, The Hurricane Heist, which is our final topic of discussion right here on Sleepless with Steve. Probably the only show, at least the only show in show that is going to devote any kind of time to The Hurricane Heist as a movie. It only made $3 million at the box office this week, so there's a good chance you did not see it and were one of the lucky ones. I gotta be honest, and here's what I'm gonna start off by saying, okay? I'm gonna start off by saying this, all right? I intended to be a defender of The Hurricane Heist. I really did.
Both of us did.
A lot of critics, I think, or a lot of people think that, like, oh, critics just going to bury these movies. I was ready to defend this movie. I really was. And I'm still ready to defend the concept. I really am. I'm still ready to defend the concept of the film. I think that there is merit here, and I'll go into that later. But here's what I'm going to say, is that it was about maybe 30, 35 minutes into this thing, okay? I was watching it, and I actually said it aloud. And it didn't matter. There's 4 other people in the theater. They didn't hear me. I said this aloud. I said, like 35 minutes in, I'm like, I can't believe it. They took this thing seriously. And that's, at the end of the day, the biggest flaw. They did, the filmmakers behind this, and I'm going to call them out, the screenwriters particularly, Jeff Dixon, Scott Windhauser, is that these two guys, these two writers, they come up with this really interesting concept, this fun concept, the kind of stuff that action cinema is made for, and then they proceed to take the idea seriously. They think we care about the characters of this. Joe, chime in, save me. Can we at least talk about the plot of this thing?
Sure.
Let's talk about the plot.
The plot of this movie is exactly what it sounds like. A heist is being done in a hurricane. A U.S. Treasury is basically under a Category 5 hurricane, and these bank robbers are thinking of robbing it. In order to stop them, characters played by Toby Kebbell, Will, Maggie Grace Casey, and Ryan Quanten. Breeze is his name. What a name, I gotta say. These 3 people are here to stop the robbers from basically taking the U.S. Treasury's money before they can leave outside of the hurricane.
Yes, it takes place in Gulfport, Alabama. If I'm not mistaken, It takes place in Gulfport, Alabama. So that's that. Like I said, that's the setting of the movie. The film opens too with a little bit of a prologue, again humanizing characters that you just don't care about. But it focuses on the characters Will and Breeze as 2 young boys in Alabama who saw their father killed by Hurricane Andrew in 1992 when they were very young. Now they're preparing for another storm, Hurricane Tammy, and that's what we're watching. And then also this heist is led by Ralph Ineson, who plays Perkins. He's a disgruntled employee of the Treasury Department who has these other plans, who has actually devised his plans around this horrific hurricane. Okay,
like he was banking on this hurricane.
Yeah, he was. He was hoping that this thing would occur. But like I said before, the main problem with this thing from the get-go is they took this damn thing seriously.
And going off the opening of this movie is when the dad gets killed and swallowed up by the hurricane, a skull emerges out of the hurricane and roars. And you're thinking, this is exactly how silly we should be taking this, honestly.
Yeah, like a Final Destination thing.
Yeah, after that, it never reaches that level. You get doses of it throughout the movie, but it never gets back to that level with the action, honestly. It can have a lot of fun with.
I think it could. I think that there's so much you could do with this if you concoct in set pieces. Like, you concoct these set pieces. Like, again, the promotional image for this is 3 big rig, 18-wheeler convoy trucks trying to outrun this hurricane.
Outrace the hurricane.
which is like this. I love the way the hurricane is at the end, because we're probably going to reference the ending sequence in a lot throughout this review. But it's like
the best part of the movie.
This gigantic black wall of garbage and water and money from this $600 million heist stolen at 600 miles an hour, and they're outrunning this hurricane in these convoy trucks. And it's funny because it's like, you know what, this movie should be more of this. Instead, we get a lot of shootouts that take place over this really horribly ugly visuals.
Oh, yeah.
This like soggy, saturated grayscale cinematography.
There's so much rain, you can't even see what the action's happening on the screen.
And I think that's
honestly.
that's what they realized too when they're making this thing is like, it's not going to all be like gusts and waves and torrential downpours.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end, can we be honest? At the end, it's not even a hurricane; it's a friggin' tsunami.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? That whole situation. I mean, it's not even a hurricane by the end of the movie. But that's the killer with this movie though, is that I think they realized that they couldn't make this whole thing like this tsunami torrential wave thing that they were creating at the end. So what they reminded themselves was, oh, there's a lot of wind and rain throughout throughout a hurricane. So that's when they staged these shootouts, these low rent shootouts.
Oh my god. And yeah, like you said, they tried giving the characters development. Like the two brothers, you spend about like 20 minutes of the movie learning about their past. And like, you're just sitting there going, can we just get to the hurricane already?
I didn't come to see these two morons.
I didn't come to see the brothers heist. I came to see the hurricane heist.
Yeah, and it makes it makes the criminal mistake, like I said before. Dixon and Weinhauser, they seem to think we care about Perkins' corruption. We care about that we think that these characters are so interesting enough, these brother characters, that they warrant backstory. You know what I mean? It's as if they thought we wanted to watch these shootouts in the rain, with the soggy, drab cinematography. I said the movie too. Let's start this. This thing costs $35 million. It's as visually attractive as wet cement. I don't know where the hell this money went. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is one of those movies where you look at it and you're like, how did they spend $35 million on this thing? It doesn't look like it.
I thought this was like $10 million at max.
It looks like they were severely strapped. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It does not look like
Somebody pocketed that money.
Yeah, really. I think that was money was actually heist. Was actually part of a heist. I think Rob Ineson actually stole like the bulk of that money. And
30 million stolen.
And even Rob Cohen directed it. He's like, where was this $35 million? I think that was much of a tax break I didn't see. I mean, somebody needs to issue an apology for this thing. That's how bad this is.
Yeah, I mean, it is terrible, man. Like the acting too. I mean, like you have Toby Kebbell is a great actor, honestly, and like he's given nothing to work with here. Same goes for Maggie Grace, Ryan Quanten, and Ralph Ensign. God, I missed
Innocent.
But you get to the side characters, like the hacker chick, who has probably the worst deliveries I've ever seen in a movie. For instance, there's a part where they stop them from hacking into, like, finding out the passcode. And, like, so it pauses during the hack. And she literally looks at it and goes, what made it stop? And it's just like, oh, come on.
This is Maggie.
Come on, get more emotion
Grace.
to it.
Yeah, no, and nobody could do as Rob Cohen. You know who I'm really disappointed in too, but I don't think there was much he could do as Rob Cohen. This is the man that directed the very first Fast and the Furious movie from 2001 of the new franchise. Obviously not the Roger Corman film.
Yeah.
But Rob Cohen, he directed the Fast and the Furious, the original from 2001. He also directed, which I never saw, but the hyper stylized Vin Diesel movie Triple X. Mm-hmm. So Rob Cohen has a very reputable pedigree as an action director. You know what I mean? Even the original Fast and the Furious, people forget. I don't think people have seen the original Fast and the Furious in quite some time. Go back and watch it. It's a pretty good movie. It's a well-shot movie.
It is.
It does a good job of introducing the characters. Lord didn't know we'd spend 10 movies with them. But it does a good job of setting the scene and creating something visually interesting.
And it writes the characters a lot better than this movie does.
Virtually anything does. But it's really shocking to me though how not fun this movie is. For a premise like this, I mean, I couldn't imagine that a movie called The Hurricane Heist would be a chore to sit through.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is like. It's got like Sharknado level effects. Number one, it's got like Sharknado level effects. It's got like sci-fi level production.
That's what I was thinking
level
the
production.
entire time watching it was, wow, I didn't know I walked into a theater premiering the Sci-Fi Channel.
That's really what it is. Like you almost wanted it to fade. You almost thought it was going to fade to black at times, and then say like. We'll be right back to the Hurricane Heist on Sci-Fi. You know what I mean?
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Yeah, exactly. And so some commercials and stuff. I mean, what the film should have ended up on a store's DVD rack or a platform where people didn't have to make a special trip to see it.
Yeah, honestly.
Bottom line,
paying $10 to see something like this is criminal.
it is like I mean, you know what? Did you ever see the movie? And this is what I was really, again, this was a high bar to set for this thing. But you know what? I was kind of hoping it would even be half this. Did you see that movie Into the Storm when it came out? The Stephen Quayle film, the one about the tornado.
The several tornadoes or just one tornado?
It was I think there was multiple. I think there was multiple in the movie. It's from 2014. This one. It's a found footage movie, partly too.
Yes. Okay. I know
you
what
have
you're talking
seen
about.
this one.
Yeah.
There are multiple tornadoes.
They knew how to.
Now that, I'll be honest with you, that was a great film.
That was like they knew how to play with that concept.
And Stephen Quayle too. I don't know.
They'd light a tornado on fire in that movie.
Nobody knows who Stephen Quayle is, but he's in my opinion, he's one of the best action directors working today. He directed Final Destination 5, which is arguably, you could make the argument that's the best in the franchise.
You and I both agree on that.
Yeah, you could make that argument. And he directed Into the Storm. He also, the thing is, I remember watching Final Destination 5, and I'm just thinking, this thing is so well directed. Well, then I went and saw Into the Storm, hyped because I'm like, Stephen Quayle's doing this. He's great at directing, and it was also good. He also learned, Stephen Quayle, the director of both those movies, he was a second unit director under James Cameron for many years.
Yeah.
So
He helped out with Avatar.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's got to be like, if you're a second unit director for James Cameron and you forge your own career, that's like learning under Bill Belichick. You know what I mean? Like you're learning under like Andy Reid of the coaches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of who could take you under your wing, but. They should have got Stephen Quayle to do this thing.
He would have done a better job.
I think he would. I think he at least would have made some film more so than what we have here, that were interesting, more so than what we have here, which is bland as can be.
Yeah.
Which is visually indistinct as you could be.
Whenever there's shootouts, you don't really get like a point of view of what they're shooting at. It just shows the character shooting from the side, cuts to a character taking cover, shooting back, cuts back to the person that was shooting before, taking cover. It's very bland.
The violations of reverse shot in this thing are really bad. You know what I mean? Are shameful even. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just in a lot of different ways. You have like these scenes that do not line up like in a linear sense, where somebody fires in one direction, and also you can't see a thing.
No, you can't.
It doesn't help that the fact that this is again set in a hurricane. It's one of the setbacks too of the movie, but. This thing really needed to embrace the silliness of its premise.
Like I said, there's moments where it almost does. Like there's a moment where Toby Kebbell's character picks up rims off of cars and throws them like frisbees, and it actually kills somebody. It's just a second of it.
Yeah,
Entire action sequence involving that. It's just a second of it.
Yeah, it's like you just said, it's like the essence of what this thing could have been if it would have lightened up a bit.